this is Scott, and hope you are having a wonderful holiday season. I'm in my garage gym doing a 1-mile walk this morning because I've been eating a lot during the holidays, and if you do it right, you have been too. I like to eat during the holidays, and I don't want to gain too much weight though, so I tend to do more cardio so that I can have the best of both worlds. And I'll bike ride, I'll power walk, I'll walk, and of course weight train. Speaking of power walking, I don't know if you can see my board over there. I tend to write down my power walking time for 1 mile, because in the book Power Walking, Steve talks about times, and what would constitute a really good time over the course of a mile. And my best time is 12 minutes and 56 seconds, so I'm always trying to improve upon that. You get to a point where it really gets difficult because your legs can only move so fast when you're power walking, the stride and the speed, before you end up running. So I'm not sure how much more I can improve that. I do hold the Steve Reeves handy weights, one in each hand, while I'm power walking. And I love the breathing that power walking talks about. Somebody said that deep breathing is inside health. In other words, when you're practicing deep breathing, whatever you're doing, power walking, or just maybe stretching, yoga, meditating, whatever it is, practice deep breathing because it's really good for your internal. And so I always like to try to do that when I'm power walking. And Steve has some great tips in the book for how to do it right. So today I'm going to talk about a fantastic book. I'm wondering if you've ever heard of it. It's called The Essence of Being. It's by Dominic Giuliano. Let me put it over here. I think I have this camera angle on my head where you can see that. The Essence of Being, Dominic Juliano. Maybe you've never heard that name, but Dominic was 1953 Mr. Muscle Beach. He was in Mae West's musical, in which George Eiferman, Joe Gold, I believe one of the Tannys, Armand or Vic, and some other bodybuilders of that era. And Dominic was very involved in the Muscle Beach scene. As mentioned, he himself was a bodybuilder. George Eiferman asked Dominic to train him for the Mr. Universe. And according to the book here, Steve Reeves asked Dominic to go with him to York, Pennsylvania, while Steve trained for the Mr. Universe. So who was Dominic Giuliano? I'm reading this book on my Kindle. It costs $1.99. If you don't have a Kindle, you can get an app free so that you can read Amazon books on your computer or device. So let's read in this area here. I'm just going to get right to the Steve Reeves part. Dominic says, I was back in Vegas once again dealing craps at the Riviera Casino and getting down to Santa Monica whenever possible. Steve Reeves, who was training for the Mr. Universe contest, wanted me to train with him in York, Pennsylvania. I hesitated, but he talked me into it. After I quit my job at the Riviera, Steve and I worked out together for about 6 weeks, and in that time I learned a lot. He had a different approach to bodybuilding. He had a very precise method and knew his body very well. In those 6 weeks, he went from 175 pounds to 220. So 45 pounds of solid muscle, and I believe Steve's book, Building the Classic Physique and or Dynamic Muscle Building, talks about this very thing. The 6 weeks when Steve gained 45, 50 pounds while training for the Mr. Universe. Even the famous John Grimmick, the only man ever to win the AAU Mr. America title more than once, was impressed. Using his method and mind together, it was just incredible what both of us accomplished. One day I posed for Grimmick, who took some pictures. Wonder where those pictures are. And then he told me, "Dominic, you have the greatest torso in the world." I was shocked at that comment, even more so when Steve agreed. All right, wow. Grimmick added, "Just don't get any bigger, your proportions are perfect now." I weighed about 200 then, I had a 30-inch waist, and Steve had once told me that I would never get it any smaller. But he had told me that I could make my chest bigger. Now I had a 52-inch chest, and I realized that I had achieved the perfect proportions. See, if we know our history, that George Eifferman trained with him at the Mr. Universe, but I didn't know Dominic Giuliano trained with him. Reeves went off to the Mr. Universe contest, and he won it. This is interesting. He talks about Dick Dubois, called him Richie Dubois. A director came down to Muscle Beach to find Richie. The guys told him to talk to me, that I would know where Dick Dubois was. I told the director that I was Dick's agent, and when I found out the contract for a movie included over $100,000 with more to follow, I almost fell over. I told the director I would get Dick Dubois and that we would meet with him later in the evening at the hotel. I quickly found Dick Dubois and described this incredible opportunity to him, but he refused to even consider it. He wanted nothing to do with it, the movie industry, and he wanted to become an evangelist, a preacher, and that was that. Alright, so some things to remember here. Offered $100,000. One time a director came from Italy looking for Dick Dubois. He wanted to do the Hercules movies. Dick wanted nothing to do with it. I got with the Italian director and told him of Richard's refusal. I then suggested that the guy he really wanted was a bodybuilder named Steve Reeves. I let it go at that, not knowing that one day Steve would become famous as Hercules. Alright, so Steve was paid $10,000 for the Hercules movie. Who was the Italian director in the book here that Dominic's talking about, and where did the $100,000 come from? Was it the same director? Was it somebody else? We know that the director of Hercules, his daughter, 13-year-old young teenage daughter, discovered Steve Reeves in the movie Athena, I think it was Athena, and told her dad about it, and that's when her dad learned of Steve Reeves. Could this all be true in here? I don't know. I'm about halfway through the book, and once again there's a lot of bodybuilding information in here. Vince Gironda, John Grimmick, George Eifferman, Marvin Eder, Dick Dubois, Steve Reeves, and I had never heard of this book. Well, there's a mile I just knocked out. So thank you guys. It's much easier when I have somebody to talk to. Time goes by a lot faster. It usually takes me like 15 minutes or so to do the mile. So I'm going to leave it at that. 15 minutes and 32 seconds. I probably talked enough. Except I do want to make a couple of announcements here that I'm really excited about. I want to make more videos, but once again, the way I know to do this is to just be active, whether it's writing the Steve Reeves Hercules bike, or driving the Jag, or doing what I'm doing right now. So on my YouTube page, a mystery man, I didn't know who this was, by the name of David Dupre. I didn't know it was the Dave Dupree, the bodybuilder, the Mr. America, and the legend, who has been watching some of the Steve Reeves videos and commenting. And I've since learned that Dave Dupree actually was trained by Jack Delinger, and Dave Dupree is from Oakland, and he trained at Ed Yarick's gym, Ed Yarick and Alice's gym. So now we've got Dave Dupree watching and contributing on my YouTube community page, and he says, after back and forth commenting, "Thanks, Scott. I like that you are a Steve Reeves fan who actually works out." Yes, I actually work out, and I work out really hard, or at least I try to, 4 to 5 times a week. Weight training, cardio, all of that stuff, because guys like you, Dave, and women like Alice Yarick and Pudgy Stockton, etc., have inspired me. So now you guys are inspiring a lot of the new generation from these videos that others on YouTube are making. So that compliment, someone who actually works out, he says, I really appreciate that. If I could help you keep Steve Reeves memories alive for a new generation of natural bodybuilders, I'm available. To which I said, you made my day. Thank you. Happy holidays. We've got Eric Moore saying that he followed Dave's tricep routine in Dan Lurie's magazine in high school. Lying tricep extension, dips, and one arm overhead extension. It gave me 19-inch arms by the time I graduated. That's fantastic, Eric. I recognize Eric. He posts on my YouTube community page a lot. So we have Dave Dupree on here. So I'm looking to connect more with Dave Dupree and bring you more information. The other thing that I am excited about is recently on my YouTube community page, I was talking about Ed Yarick and Alice Yarick, and they have a son named Buddy, and I had tried to reach out to Buddy online without any good results. I never heard back from Buddy, and I believe that's his first name, Buddy. I apologize if I got that wrong. Anyway, so his granddaughter, Ed Yarick's granddaughter, Alice Yarick's granddaughter, Buddy's daughter, reached out to me through my YouTube community page and said that memorabilia from Ed Yarick's gym is still there. Buddy, Ed and Alice's son, has it. What does that mean? Does it mean all the equipment inside of Ed Yarick's gym, the benches, the dumbbells, the cables, the pictures on the wall, all of the workout information, the trophies? Ed and Alice's granddaughter said that Buddy wasn't ready to share it yet, the memorabilia, but she hopes that the time will be soon. And I do too. And once again, we're simply trying to keep all this info alive for the next generation, 4 generations. You know, Steve Reeves will be talked about 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now. So we want to make sure we have the details right. We want to honor those families. We want to honor those men like Dave Dupree. We want to honor the families like Ed and Alice Yarick. And, you know, Dominic Giuliano, we want to get to know him better. Comment below if you have any thoughts on any of this. If you like this type of video, let me know that as well. It's the best way for me to make consistent videos, you know, multiple times a week, and I look forward to it. All right, guys, well, I'm going to leave it at that. You guys have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.